Meadows and the great outpouring of community support the Blooms have experienced, that it was very important for you to hear from Matt and for everyone to hear from PG&E and the Stewardship Council, and also the county fire marshal. Hi, Marshal, you're I always forget that. Okay, one of those. But anyway, what we wanted to do was to assemble people who could give us information that's accurate and that's really timely. And then we'll end with a discussion of opportunities for participating, donations, volunteering, etc. So I'm elected to be the timekeeper, the taskmaster. So I'm going to move these people through very quickly, and at the end we'll have a short period where you can ask questions. Okay? Okay, so welcome so much. We're really glad that you're here. And with that, I would like to turn this over to our Assistant County Fire Warden, Julie Enriquez, who's going to talk about fire.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm going to give you a rundown of equipment here real quick, and then I'm going to have Captain Jones, the investigator, give you a little brief update on what the cause was. The firefighting resources at scene were CAL FIRE had 4 engines, a chief officer, and 1 fire investigator. Balmy County Fire Department had 2 engines, 3 water tenders, 2 inspectors, and information officers. The Miwok Fire Protection District provided an engine. U.S. Forest Service provided 2 engines, a hand crew, a prevention unit, and a fire management officer. Captain Jones.
Oh, my name's Captain Jones. I'm the one who investigated the fire.
Excuse me, can you speak louder? It's real hard to hear.
When I went up there, the whole building was totaled, was on the ground, nothing but ash. And I relied pretty much on witness statements to come up with the cause and origin. I determined that the fire started in the attic. There was no power to the building. As of 10:30 at night, they shut the generator off, which supplies power to that building. So the only thing I had going was a wood stove. And with all the witness statements, they all put it in the attic. And I determined at that point that the fire started probably because of one, the stove flue pipe either broke, or I have a problem with pyrolysis to the wood that's up in the attic, and that the fact that you get heat from a source and the ignition temperature of the wood decreases, you could also get a fire on that. So with all that, I determined it was in the attic and it was caused by the stove.
Okay. I'll have Janet Walter come up with PG&E. If you want to talk a little bit about the Kennedy Meadows land process and what's going on now.
All right. So I'm Janet Walter. I'm with PG&E, and just talk a little bit about, currently PG&E has a lease with Matt Luke and his family for the operation of the facilities there in Kennedy Meadows on 240 acres of PG&E land. That lease goes through 2013. And PG&E is committed to work with Matt to get through the process of rebuilding and expedite any requirements that we may need through this process to get Matt through this as quickly as possible. We don't know if there's going to need to be any regulatory approvals at this time, but that's what we're going to work with him and do everything we can to make it happen as quickly as we can. The next thing, a lot of you, or most of you, have probably heard about PG&E's land conservation commitment, where we committed to protect and preserve 140,000 acres of PG&E-owned watershed land. And we're doing this either through donation and fee title or conservation easements to public agencies or nonprofits. We are doing this, back a few years ago, PG&E formed the Pacific Forest Watershed and Stewardship Council, referred to as the Stewardship Council, and they are preparing a land conservation plan, which Michelle will talk about a little bit more, that really determines potential future owners, recommendations for management of these lands in the future. Again, Michelle will really reference that. Again, I would just like to say, from PG&E, we really express our regret for the loss to you and to your family and the impact, and we're here to work with you to get through this as quickly as possible. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Michelle, do you want to talk about the Stewardship Council process and the conditions of the...
Yes. I'm Michelle Hannigan. I'm with the Stewardship Council. And before I begin, I would be remiss to say that we at the Stewardship Council are, again, very sorry for your loss. And I think executive director a day after the fire to assess the damage. And while we were, of course, saddened, we were so impressed and about him and his family and friends, the heroic efforts that took place to really, while the damage is so heartbreaking to look at, make it not be that bad. What does that mean? People get to come back and enjoy this place. So I think that's so important to say. And Matt, thank you for your great effort. As part of the effort to preserve this valued resource, the Stewardship Council, along with PG&E, is going to continue with our land conservation process. Already today, we have completed volumes 1 and 2, and I hate to get technical, but this is a very technical process, so please ask questions. But volumes 1 and 2 are done, which were really about assessing what does this 140,000 acres look like, and then what do we do next? So we've done the assessment. Volumes 1 and 2 are in place. Kennedy Meadows is a part of that volume 2, and you can always look online to find out more information on that, and I can always point you in the right direction. Those two plans will be, hopefully, our goal is to get them adopted in November at our board meeting, which is a public meeting. Once that happens, we move into the phase which I think everybody here is very curious about, which is volume 3 and implementation. So we need to get 1 and 2 done before we can move on to the next phase. And that next phase, which is going to be, we're going to include engaging stakeholders, which is all of you, stakeholders, qualified donees, and partners, and eventually we're going to get to the disposition of land, which is what we're all concerned about. We plan on creating a very vibrant and engaging stakeholder process. We ask all of you to come to the table. We want to hear what everyone has to say, and we look forward to working with all of you as we go through that. That process will hopefully begin, in fact, be in full force by the beginning of next year. In the meantime, we will be back. We'll be here to talk to you, and we'll be working with PG&E and Matt and Supervisor to get this process moving forward. So thank you so much for having us here today, and thank you. Let me know if you have questions.
Thank you, Michelle. Can everyone hear okay? Are you having a hard time? Why don't we move in? Okay, so maybe we should start from the beginning, huh? No. Come on in. I think now comes the part of the press conference that we've all been really waiting for. I've been fortunate. I've been able to go up and visit with Matt a couple of times, but many of you have not been to Kennedy Meadows. Maybe you've seen photos, but you haven't really heard the story of what happened, and so Matt has agreed to give us some details and to talk about his future plans. Matt, thank you guys so much.
This is my wife, bless me. Well, I want to first say thanks for everybody's help, and we really appreciate all of the help that the community and everybody around has given us so far, and I know there'll be a lot of help in the future. It was a tragedy what we lost, but
Matt, you'll have to talk louder.
Yeah.
These folks will be sorry.
it was a tragedy what we lost, but we are going to rebuild it just as fast and as soon as we can, and we'll be there next summer.
Yeah, a few questions at the end, and maybe we can kind of share some more details. We did want to provide Melinda Fleming an opportunity to talk about volunteering and donating mechanisms. Melinda?
Right, and as many of you know, you've seen lots of articles in the papers, local papers and papers down in the valley also. And I heard it was all the way into LA, New York. So Kennedy Meadows, means more to people than just people here in the community. So that's very important for them to know. It also is important for you to know that there's all kinds of fundraising activities beginning to be planned, and that there are various numbers that you can call if you want to either donate or volunteer time or volunteer something. There is a website for Kennedy Meadows where you can go on and log on, and if you have construction skills, if you have equipment, then that's a place for you to go, and you can register on there if you want to help them come springtime. There's also, you can go to 2Care and you can log in there. You can email us. You can also call myself, or you can call Ms. Morrison, and you can leave a number. We'll get back to you. Whatever you would like to do, we'd like to be able to accommodate as many people as possible. We know it's a place that means a lot to a lot of people. The first event that's going to be publicized right now that's going to take place is December 29th. It will be a Buckaroo Ball and dinner at the fairgrounds. Lisa Morales is organizing that, and I'm giving some information to the papers. There will be a number to contact her, a 2Care number, or if you want to be part of that, you can be part of that. We'll try to announce as often as we can any other type of events or volunteer opportunities as they come along. Thank you.
Before I open it up for questions, I just wanted to make a few comments with regard to the whole process. And I think that it's really important for all of us to understand this is not the county's process. This is not 2Care's process. This is not PG&E's process. This is all of our process. And no one is making deals in the background. Nothing's being decided because we're going to do it all together at the table. And we will be making sure that that is the case as we go along. Thought you might like to hear that. Michelle, maybe you could talk a little bit about, you didn't really discuss existing uses and the document with regard to that. You wanted to
yeah, there's not a lot I can say, but I'll say what I can. I think you're talking about volumes 1 and 2. Yes, is that correct? So what's next? Volume 2, which you can all go online and check out, and I hate to point everyone to the website, but it is incredibly helpful because there's a lot of language there. It's quite lengthy. However, what it does say in that document, Volume 2, that will be adopted in November, is that traditional economic uses will stay a part of this land. So I think that will be encouraging for everybody, and I can't really say anything else, but that should be encouraging. Yes.
What date is your meeting in November, and where is it?
I want to say, and I will give this accurate information, the 26th of November, because I believe it's after Thanksgiving, that Thursday after, but I want to make sure I'm accurate, so I'll send that up to Supervisor. Anybody else?
Let me just also say that I recognize that there are several people here who have been involved in the process. Tom Quinn has been at the table, Reba Fuller has been at the table, different ones, and so there are a range of interests that are going to be represented, and we are committed to making sure that everybody has an opportunity to shape the future. And so with that, let me do this. So we don't have chaos, I'll recognize you. You can ask a question of anyone who's spoken or anyone who's here. And who would like to ask a question? Yes, Mark.
Terry, what website is going to have the most up-to-date information and news that we can follow along with? Is there going to be one place where you can go to get the latest?
Well, yeah.
I know your newsletter that you said, I'm on your email list,
okay.
So I get that, and that's very helpful. That's had a lot of information right along. So is that...
Yeah, let me do this. Cody, could you come up, please? We've got a couple of different websites, and as a supervisor, I put out about a monthly email that gives an update on things. I'll continue doing that. But in addition, Cody Ritz has also been working on it for Matt. I know that there are different sources of information other places. Let me just say mine's terrymurison.com. And Cody, why don't you give your details?
The Kennedy Meadows website is www.kennedymeadows.com, and we're going to try and keep it focused. We already discussed putting up rumors and dispelling rumors and everything else. Anything we put on that website will probably be of significance and keep it real focused about what we're trying to do. If anyone has suggestions, there's now a contact form on the website, which hasn't been working until just recently. And by all means, put it in there, and we'll see it, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And we'll try and keep it up to date as best possible.
And as far as the Stewardship Council information goes, we do have our website, which is www.stewardshipcouncil.org. However, we will also be communicating with the supervisor and Kennedy Meadows. So between the three places, the information should be up to date and accurate. So you won't have to go to three different places, but if you do, we should all be saying a similar thing.
Thank you.
I'll make sure to put a link to both of the other websites on there and a real quick access, and then maybe together over the winter. Now that summer's over, now this has happened, we'll be able to get a little more something better done so that it can be quicker updated.
Thanks. Why don't you stay in case we have some more questions? And let me also say that the county is very much committed toward helping things get back on track as soon as possible. Our county administrator is here, and you have my commitment. We are working together with the process. We want to see things get back to equilibrium as soon as possible. Yes.
I understand PG&E owns the property. Are they going to retain ownership?
Yeah, Janet.
Or are they going to disperse with it?
No, as part of PG&E's land conservation commitment, all of the acres. As part of PG&E's land conservation commitment, we committed that we would either donate in fee or place conservation easements on all of our watershed lands. The lands at Kennedy Meadows are at this point showing that they have the potential to be donated in fee to a private or public or nonprofit or public agency. We're also in the FERC relicensing process that covers this land as well. So we're also waiting until we get our new FERC license to see how that interacts with the existing plans, with the land conservation plan. But at this time, it is designated as a parcel that can be donated in fee.
Thank you, Janet. Michelle, just briefly, and I see, I'll get to Maya, talk about the time frame for, could something happen next week?
No. Nothing can happen next week. No. Or the week after. Like I mentioned before, we did volumes 1 and 2. Those took how many years? 3. Volumes 1 and 2 took 3 years to happen, okay? We are, the Stewardship Council is in existence until 2013. Because Volume 3, there will be many Volume 3s, because as you can imagine, these are incredibly long documents for each parcel of this land. We're in 22 counties, okay? So just know that we will be working on all these different parcels until that time. So it could be, we probably won't even get one done.
There's 1,000 parcels of land that will be addressed, but Kennedy Meadows is a pilot project.
Kennedy Meadows is a pilot project, meaning that we're going to start focusing on that fairly quickly by the beginning of next year. But the good news for all of you to understand is that what's in Volume 2 that's going to be adopted in November is our recommendation of what's going to happen to Kennedy Meadows. We are supporting traditional economic uses. So hopefully that makes it clear. It's not always clear to me, so if you have questions, you're welcome to ask.
Okay, Maya.
Okay, being a member of the board of a people-friendly, nonprofit government resource conservation district, and knowing Matt's family since before he was born, the Resource Conservation District would like to cooperate with them in any way that we can. We have our board here, so any questions we can help out too. Cody's been in touch with us too.
Thanks, Maya. Anyone else? Yes, Mark.
I've got one more question. Being from the building industry, I know that there's a term for a reconstruction permit after a burn down. In this situation, it's 18 months. And in the past, the county has worked with, under special circumstances, to allow a longer period of time. And due to the shortened construction season that we have up there, I think it's going to be important that the county, looks into providing that extra amount of time that it's liable to take to complete that reconstruction.
Thank you. Yeah, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Mr. Pedro, but we've already
That's fine.
We've talked about that, and to the extent that maybe you can, without providing more information than you concretely know. Do you want to say anything?
I'll just make a quick statement. I know from prior emergencies, prior boards put into existence provisions within our ordinance codes that allow for quick rebuilds, not having to go back and bring everything up to code in some cases. And so the idea was to expedite getting people back into their homes and businesses and so forth. And those codes are there, and we'll try to make sure that they're used to the fullest extent to help you guys out.
So Mr. Pedro has assembled a team to look into that and to kind of look at the ramifications of doing that. And so he'll be giving us some updates on that in the next couple of weeks, and I will put that on my website. Other questions? Yes, Shirley.
I'm assuming that
volumes 1 and 2 has to do with the write-in campaign that we had.
That's correct.
And does that all have to be settled before they can start building?
The Stewardship Council is separate completely from the process of his decision to rebuild. PG&E is the landowner, and I'll let Janet speak if she wants to. They handle that. We're kind of a process that's moving at the same speed as whatever happens with this land from a rebuilding perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and PG&E will be working with Matt to rebuild now. We have a current and existing lease with him. So under that lease, that gives, he's able to rebuild. And then also, again, as she talked about, the land conservation commitment honors existing economic uses as well as other things, and not only here, but throughout those 1,000 parcels of land that we're talking about. So, that process does not have to be completed before Matt can start moving forward. As soon as we all sit down and talk, he can start his stuff.
Anyone else? Other questions? Okay, well, thank you so much for coming. I'm sure that you're welcome to hang out and talk with Matt, or if there's some media here that wants to ask questions of any of us, please come up. But thank you for coming. If you do have questions, email me, call, glad to answer and to help get the information that you need. Thanks.